Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of IV Backed. I am very excited to be here today. However, I do have a little bit of a cold, and I lost my voice a little bit this morning. So I apologize for having to listen to Sick Austin talk. But also, we're going to do a little bit of a shorter stream today. And this is something I wanted to try out anyway. We're only going to cover 3 different Kickstarters today. If this is your first time watching the show, this is a show where we take a look at some active Kickstarters from a publisher's perspective. So I'm going to be looking at things that I'm really excited about. I'm going to be looking at things from a manufacturing perspective and a logistics perspective. And then I'm going to talk about like conversion, and I'm going to talk about different things that I really like and that I've learned from for our next campaign. If you don't know, I work at a studio called IV Games. We've made Veiled Fate and Moonrakers and are working on our next game, Mythic Mischief, right now. And that Kickstarter's coming up. So I'm in full-blown research mode trying to get ready for this thing. And there is quite a lot that I have screenshotted and saved from this week's campaigns. There's just a lot of really good stuff to talk about. So I'm really excited to jump in. Hello, everyone. Very, very thankful for you to come out and join me here. Samuel, Cherry, Dane, Nancy, Ilya, good to see all of you, as always. Before we jump in, we do need to do a giveaway from last week's show. So we have... All right. This is last week's show. We wanted the comment to have something purple in it. So you'll see lots of purples. We're using a YouTube random comment picker. It's already loaded in with the word purple. And this is for a KS exclusive edition of Moonrakers. So can't buy that anymore. The only place you can get it here. If you already have one, honestly sell it because it is worth much more than what you paid for on Kickstarter. So good luck to everyone. Anton Kawat, oh my gosh, he's going to be so happy. Anton, yeah, so excited. I love an orange nebula hat with a purple background, a color combo I always enjoy. Nice. Well, Anton, I'm really excited. I know we've talked about you winning one of these, so really pumped for you. If you can reach out to me on Discord, we'll figure out the details. But yeah, congrats. All right, so we're going to start off with Mosaic, and I am pumped about this one. I'm going to try to make that a little bigger. Doesn't want to get any bigger. That's fine. We'll look at it like this. I am probably more pumped about this game from an actual, wow, I want to play that, than maybe any other game that we have covered on the show. Hidden Leaders is up there for me. I really enjoyed Hidden Leaders. But this game is a civ builder that can be played in 2 hours. Now, it probably takes the right group to play it in 2 hours. But that alone just is like, oh, I'm interested. Before I do that, we're giving away Moonrakers mats on this stream next week. And the way that you enter for that is to comment after this video is done its live stream. And I really would like some feedback on the show. And I know that's a weird comment, but if you have any advice on the ways we can improve or any ideas for us, having that in a comment would be great. If you don't have an idea, just say my idea is for Austin to not stream when he's sick, and that'll count for when I do the drawing. Yeah, so you'll have to do that after the show is over. You can't do it in the live chat. But yes, please after that go comment, and we'll get you in the drawing for some Moonrakers mats. Casey, thanks for stopping by. Glad you'll get a chance to watch it live. And that for those of you that aren't watching this live, you can still comment, and we're not going to pick until next week, literally a week away. So you have a whole week to watch this and comment. So yeah. Dane says, ooh, I love the look at this one. They have really leaned into their name, and I think that's a really good idea. It's definitely, you can see a mosaic right as you're looking at it. And I love the theme. I love the approach there. So yeah, I'm gonna jump in and go for it. Here we go. So right away, there's not a ton of art at the top, and you guys know I like art at the top, but I think that the mosaic word mark is really interesting, and they've done what, in my opinion, is the most important thing, is an epic game of civilization building in playable in 2 hours. Those two things are hard to do together, and so if it's actually able to be done, which I think it is based on all the playthrough and comments I've seen from influencers, then that's a huge selling point, and that is what should be at the top. Right? this game is probably not selling you just on the art. It does look cool. Dane said he liked it. I like it. But it's not like a game where it's like, I'm going to buy that just for the look of it. And so the thing that really is the most important here is that Civ building playable in 2 hours. So I think they nailed the top of this. I really do. And I want it. Just like, I'm here and I already have decided to back. Now, I had seen some stuff beforehand about it, and some people from Dice Tower and some people, just influencers in general, talking about this game. And so I knew that it had some really good opinions out there already. So that's influencing my decision as well. But like, I'm already sold here. And that's something that we talk a lot, is like, Kickstarter pages are for converting people that come to the page, and it's like, I'm done already. Like, cool, sign me up. They also really have some big names. Glenn Drover, Age of Empires 3. Great. I love the Age of Empires series. I own Raccoon Tycoon. We backed Lizard Wizard. So there's some really, really great things right there. And then they go into this claim of it's a real civilization building game with everything that you'd expect from a Civ game. And it just, like, that's awesome. Like, that they know that when you want to play a Civ game, there's certain expectations, and they're reinforcing that, yes, we hit those expectations in a 2-hour playtime. You control the destiny of your civilization with every decision you make. Jump into some great quotes. So I'm pumped about how they've done that. I think that there's many ways to do quotes on a page. I think that this is great. It's in a good spot. It has some big names and some big logos, so that's perfect. I also see them broken out individually, and I think that I'm more likely to read each of them if they're a little bit more spread out. However, I mostly went down to this Rado one, saw it with Shay. Shay did some work for Veiled Fate that I really like. Actually, all of these people may have worked on Veiled Fate. Game Boy Geek at least worked on Moonrakers. And so I know and have worked with all of these organizations. And so I trust them and respect them. So all of those really good quotes from me. Available in these languages from our publishing partners. I think it's a really good way to approach this. We did not use publishing partners for Veiled Fate for the other languages. We did it all ourselves. We translated it with partners, but we were handling all of the production. I don't think we'll do that again. It was just a major headache. I think we did it well. I think that the translations have been vetted by other people. We had people just like, hey, I'm not sure I want the German version. Can you send me the German rulebook to make sure it's a good translation? And they're like, this translation's amazing. So our partners did a great job. Meeple Foundry in Spain also really helps out. They do our Spanish translations. They're wonderful. There's a lot of good people that we work with there, but it is very hard to manage the different workflows. It adds time to your production schedule. So I think in the future, if we do other languages, it's probably going to be through partners eventually. I don't know if we'll do it on our Kickstarters, but through partners. It's got this great game overview section, and I I like this section. And I actually screenshotted this bottom thing because it has the complexity, strategy, and mechanics, and I like that a lot. I wish there was some piece of art there, just something to capture people and make them want to read what's there, because it is a lot of text, but it's not terrible. The page itself, I am more excited about the game than I am about the page, but the page does some things really well. You'll see some plain text sections, which I've definitely talked about on the show a lot. Like, if you're going to have just plain text, if it's just a white background with black text, put it in plain text instead. It's searchable. It's better for people with visual aid needs. Like, they need bigger text, things like that. So I don't mind that. They have the graphics where they're needed for the most part. I think the head graphic is really good. They have really good influencer coverage. They have really good looks at the components, but it's not like an art piece. It's not like Ice, which we covered last week, and we had them on Ivy Games Weekly. It's not like, oh, dang, I'm buying that just for the art. But it's got this really great, understated, confident look to it. And I can't really explain why I think that I like this page so much. And it's just, it really does a good job of selling the game. And that's the point of a Kickstarter page, right? It's not, a Kickstarter page purpose is not to look good. And yes, it's great if they do look good, and I think that can help you. But this page converts well, in my opinion, and we'll continue looking at that. What's in the box? Yeah, game boards and player boards. There's not a lot of information here. I think that they could have pushed a little bit and added some text about the quality of this. And I want you to remember me saying this because I'm going to talk about it later. Chuck, I love the Civ video game, but I did not look at this at all. Chuck, I'm right there with you, man. I love Civilization games. I love Age of Empires. I love Civ, like you said. I play Total War. I play all of them. I'm right there. I love them. Cool. All right, cards. I think that the cards could be slightly bigger, but I actually don't think that that's a problem. And here's what I'm going to tell you: it has enough to show you the cool art, and it gives you an idea of the art style. And if you try hard, you can read some of the cards. Probably not on the stream because it's really small, but on my computer, I can read some of the cards. However, it like you're not going to understand the cards without learning the game. So like just reading the cards is probably just going to make you confused. So there's like you either need to show the cards big enough to where you can read it and then maybe explain a little bit of it, or you need to have them this size where you can see the art, but you're not like confused by what's on the cards. So I think this is fine. 97 technology cards. Like there are a good amount of cards here. I love that there's 9 different leaders. So that's probably, actually, I'm not sure if that's faction dependent. I think that you can add leaders while you're playing. So I'm going to take that back. Yeah, so a good amount of cards. Here is one of the things I think they did really well, and this is, in my opinion, why they're converting so well. Okay, so if you look at their conversion levels, they've got the base game, which is the Sphinx, and that comes with cardboard components, and then they have a pledge level called the Colossus that comes with it comes with the miniatures, and it's not all their add-on sets, but it's add-on sets 1 through 4. It comes with metal coins, wood tokens, plastic wonders, minis, plastic cities, towns, and ports, which is what we're looking at right here. They have converted way more of their audience to Colossus than they have to the Sphinx, and that's hard to do. You're upselling by literally almost the price of the base pledge. Like that's a huge upsell. It's a $70 upsell. And they're nailing it. They're really nailing it. And I think this section is probably why they're nailing it, right? It's got this is what you're getting at 79, but this is what you're getting at 150, right? It's got these really, really nice sculpts, which one of our friends did that I'll talk about later, but he nailed it. He did a really good job. So Kevin says, my only issue with this game is I don't know how the group to play with it. Otherwise, it looks interesting. Kevin, I'm there with you. I think that once the pandemic continues to open up, I'll have a group locally to play it with. This is definitely not something I'm bringing out to play with the wife. But it is fairly simple and has fairly quick turns because it's got this action selection system, which we will talk about right now because I'm going to skip over these other components. Although I will say, they do the same thing with the wood things and the metal coins. They've got the cardboard versions, then they've got the actual coin versions. And I think that they did a really good job with that. All right. Military miniatures upgrade. This is interesting. I want to talk about minis just in general real fast. They've got sculpts missing here. That's not odd. I think that's pretty normal. They are probably still working on that. I don't know if it was a time issue, a budget issue, or just not wanting to invest until they knew where they were going to be financially. I think they've definitely achieved where they need to be to get these extra sculpts. But let's just talk about what it takes to make minis in a game. All right. So where your costs are coming from and where your value is coming from. So obviously minis sell well on Kickstarter. And you'll see games that say they have 300 minis and it's like 250 of them are very similar. Like it's the same mold, or it's like a faction has 4 unique minis and then like 20 minis that are all the same. It's like your miniature soldiers. And the reason they do that is mold cost is going to be either going to be plastic, in some cases metal, injection, where you're shooting plastic or metal into this and you're trying to mass produce these affordably. But those molds can cost a lot of money. And so if you're doing one type of miniature, obviously it's cheaper than doing lots of types of miniatures for the most part. And then also you're saving money on sculpts. So if you have 10 miniatures that you need to sculpt, they have 12 here, then that is obviously going to be way more expensive than sculpting one miniature. And so that's where you see the difference in the quantity and why it's hard to keep adding. 12 unique military units across 6 nations, I think is compelling. I think it's fun. Like you have 2 different military units that you can invest in. And I think that's a really good choice as far as minis go. But just to kind of take a step back and look at it from a publisher perspective, like you're adding a ton of cost anytime you add minis. And this is a ton of minis, right? They've got these buildings, which there are 4 major buildings. Then they've got the wonders, which they have 9 of those. And then they also have military units and miniatures. They've got siege engines, which I'm assuming the siege engines are the same across the board because they weren't called out in that bottom section. And then you have the cavalry and the infantry. All right. So what that adds is a per unit cost because you're paying for the plastic and the assembly or whatever. If it's metal, sometimes they need to be assembled. You're paying for the storage cost because if you just throw them in the box, they're going to fall apart. You can't just put that in a plastic baggie. It's either going to need some kind of tray or some kind of storage solution that can keep it safe long term. You're paying for the sculpting cost, so you're making the art. You're having to pay a 3D artist to create this 3D model that can be made, and that can take a while because your 3D artist might make something incredible and detailed, and then you take it to your manufacturer, and your manufacturer is like, "Hey guys, like there's an undercut here," and you're like, "What's an undercut?" And it's like, "Well, we can't make a mold that can make this because it's got this weird detail thing. So you either need to make a second mold and then they have to be attached, or you have to simplify your design." Like there's all kinds of problems. Sorry, Kevin, I have your name up here forever. There's all kinds of design choices while you're doing the mold, and so it's really good to have your manufacturer and your artist work pretty closely together. Where if your artist is doing 10 designs, 10 sculpts, you're going to send that first one to your manufacturer, be like, "Hey, how's this one looking?" And they're going to be like, "Nah, this can't, you can't do this, you can't do this." Then your sculptor can not do that again, right? They can learn as they're going. Even better, work with a sculptor that already has worked on board game pieces before or has a lot of ability to do that. So yeah, it's definitely a good choice. Yes, we are on Mosaic and all right. Chris, I'm curious, based on the price of the game and the amount of minis, what kind of quality they're going to be. At $150 and the number of sculpts, I don't think it's a wild upgrade. Like, this is a pretty... I think they have priced this well from a publisher's perspective. I always think pledges are too high or too low just because of all the extra costs that go into everything. But you obviously can't just keep raising the price. Like, you have to make it marketable. So I think they did a good job. What's the difference between a mini and a sculpt? Sorry, Samuel, that's probably me just being confusing in how I talk. The sculpt is the design that the artist makes and then sends to your manufacturer, and your manufacturer is going to make a mold, and then that will make a minis. All of that is based on that initial sculpt from the artist. Thanks, Chuck. I'm going to leave yours up now. I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you. I totally left that up there forever. Anton, did you see that you won the KS exclusive edition? Or are you just now joining? I hope you saw. But yes, I don't think my playgroup would enjoy this. I'm going to talk about that because I actually think this might be one of the lighter Civ games you could play while still having the feeling of a Civ game. So, Kevin, your Discord link to your server seems to have expired. Thank you for letting me know. I am embarrassed that is the case, but I will fix that. And can one of our Discord people, especially a mod, drop a link in the chat so that they can join? Thank you. Oh, he saw. Anton, I'm so happy. Okay, cool. All right. Then we go down to weekly unlocks. And this is, I think, in place of stretch goals. People do this to keep excitement up on the campaign. I think that this is fine. And my major complaint about this page, which I do not have a lot about, I think they're doing an excellent job, is that some of these weekly unlocks are happening, over the course of the campaign. They need to go back up to the top of the page and update some stuff based on these weekly unlocks. If you remember, I talked about the what's in the box section. It had some boards and stuff, but it didn't really have any details. Let's run up there and look at that real fast. All right, player boards. There aren't any details on what this is. It doesn't have size, doesn't have quality, it doesn't have thickness, it doesn't have anything about it. But then we now see that there are slotted player boards. That is a huge upgrade on what I thought it was at the top. And so if I never made it to this place, or if I just skimmed through this, I would never know that this game has slotted player boards, right? And like, I care about that. I think you guys probably care about that. So it's like weird that that's my complaint, because this page is good. Anyway, how to play section. I prefer how to play to be higher. However, I think they did a really good job on their how to play section. The only thing I would change is that this Mosaic is an action selection game. On your turn, you will perform one of 8 actions. I skipped that the first time I was looking at this, and I was like, I don't understand how I'm getting to do these things that are in the how to play section. I feel like that how to play section, the big header, should have just had like another box beneath that was smaller text but still big text that had this plain text in it. Now you're saying, Austin, well, you accomplished, or you complimented them for having plain text in there. Yes, but I think there's some things that just need to be designed. And so now that I know on your turn you perform one of these actions, I actually have a really good idea of how to play the game just based on this how to play section. It's not GIFs, but it does have arrows. It has helpful text. I think this is a good, if not flashy, if not really highly artistic, I think it is a good how to play section. So, all right. You can learn a new technology. You can build a city, town, or project. You can recruit or move military units, increase your civilization's population, produce key currencies, taxes and tariffs, wonders, and governments. Like, I understand now that turns are fairly quick. You're doing one thing on your turn, one of these 8 things, and then you're passing your turn. And I think that Civ games can be drawn out on your turn because they're so complicated. And so I like that this is pretty simple. Yeah, I think they did a good job on this section. Lots of plain text, and that's fine. I'm happy to read that. I think it's much better than having a design block that is plain text that's really small text. Like I can scale this text, I can look at this text, I can copy and paste this text into a reader if I need to. There's a lot of different good things about it. Fantastic tutorial by John Gets Games. John does a great job. I think this is wonderful. They've got a lot of previews. I watched Mark's this time. Mark Street is a friend, and he does great work. He does a really good job of showing off the components. I'm just going to give you a little peek at that. So he's got this slider where he's sliding the whole table. Mark, that looks nice. And I just like that you can see the scale of the game because of that, right? And he's also got some of the minis there, and it just looks nice. So thank you, Mark, for doing that good preview. But yeah, I think they did a good job. They've got a bunch of different Rado videos, which I'm pretty sure is Shay talking about them. Let's check that real fast if you want to watch that. Yep, Shay does a great job. His Twilight Imperium tutorial is probably one of my favorite tutorials for that game. So yeah, really, really good. Aaron, I do need one of those voice Steam tools today. I'm going to be a shorter show for sure. Chris, 351 minis, about 20 unique sculpts, 90 metal coins, 150 wood tokens, plus all the rest of the game for 150 Steve's roughest publisher. You're not wrong. There are, I believe, cost savings other places. I don't think that the cards are going to be black core cards like Moonrakers has. There's ways to save money other places and still get all of that in for $150. But I agree, it is a lot. However, they're also hitting a pretty nice scale of this Colossus pledge because they have so many backers. The more backers at that pledge, the cheaper those metal coins get, the cheaper those minis get, the cheaper those buildings get. So as long as they keep converting well, how long do they have? Oh, they have 22 days. They're going to be fine, Chris. If this was a $100,000 project, yes, they would be in major trouble at $100,000. They're going to hit $1 million, in my opinion. It's hard to say. I think they will hit $1 million, especially because so many content creators really like this game. Excuse me. I think they will be fine just based on scale, Chris. But you're right. That is a lot of stuff. But I think that helps balance out, like, am I spending $150 on this? And it's really nice. Veiled Fate, you look at Veiled Fate component-wise, it had way less in it, but the card quality is going to be that black core with the linen and the metal minis. So you have to kind of look at the qualities versus the quantities, and that's just a publisher choice. Like Ivy chooses to invest in high quality and have a really nice tactile experience while you play. And Mosaic, I don't know the quality of the pieces, but to make it financially viable, they either need to do $1 million and have this huge economy of scale, or they have to sacrifice quality other places. But overall, everything I've seen looks wonderful. All right, back into how to play section. We get through the preview section. Got this pledge level section. This is one of the reasons, and I wish this was a little higher. Excuse me. This is one of the reasons they're converting so well in the Colossus. And to your point, Chris, sorry, I left it up again. Chris has been really popular on my comment section. It looks like the retail MSRP of this is $186. So you're right, it is a little underpriced, but that's $30 savings compared to $10 savings at the Sphinx. So I think it's really helping them convert and get that higher quantity conversion at the higher pledge level. So yeah. Aaron, Black card core. Sorry, guys. Sick. Black core cards feel so luxe, but they don't make sense for every game. 100%. Not every game needs them. Yeah, a ton of videos. They really do. It's on. Good luck with your work emergency. Thank you for watching. I think links are disabled in chat. Can you send the last part of the link, please? Oh, sorry, Kevin. I'll post it. I'll change it in the bio after the video too. All right, add-ons. By pledging the Colossus level or including add-ons 2 to 4, you'll receive 351 high-quality miniatures. So you can back the Sphinx and just add the miniature packs that you want if you want, which I think is a good way to do it. I like their coins. Their coins aren't like, oh, those are my favorite coins I've ever seen, but they're historical, and that changes it for me. Like, I might not be like, oh, I love the design on those, and do I really need those? But just the fact that they tried to make them historical changes my opinion about them 100%. Because now I don't care about the design. I'm like, cool. They're trying to fit into the universe that they're playing in, and I like that a lot. So I think they did a really good job on that. They've got add-on set 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of those are included in the Colossus pledge, and then they've got add-ons of their different games. Many of these you've already heard of. I own a couple of them. But yeah, how to play Mosaic. I think it's kind of a weird time to have this here, but it's just the rule book. I feel like this could have been higher, but I mean, I'm just nitpicking at this point. I really like this campaign. Shipping section, pretty plain, but they do talk about that, which is something that I really care about because it's what I'm going through right now. They will collect that in the pledge manager, and that is how we're going to have to handle it in our campaigns moving forward. They talk about it enough as far as you can get an idea of what you're going to be paying. Yeah, then they talk about the team. A couple of friends worked on this. Bryce Cook did the 3D sculpting. Bryce has worked on some of our games through his employer as well. And he did a really good job on these sculpts. So good job, Bryce. Those look great. Cool. I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, yes. Oh, goodness. This section is called Why Pledge on Kickstarter. It is after distribution, after shipping, after operations, after team, after graphics. It is after everything. It is literally the last thing between terms and conditions and then risks and challenges. It's this third to last thing on the page. This is not the place for this. And once again, I really like this page. I really like this game. I'm very excited about it. This needs to be higher. And it's very simple. They might just put it in there as an afterthought, but like no one's reading this. And do they need to read it? Because they're backing at 2,250 people on their highest pledge level. So they might not need it, but it should be higher. It's just not doing any good down here. So I would say either take it off the page or put it higher. Cool. Awesome. All right. Next. Yeah, it's a good section. It's just no one's seen it. Next, we're going to be talking about Vengeance, Roll, and Fight. I saw this a little bit ago. I hadn't taken a look at the page until yesterday. And I like a lot of things about this pledge, or this page. Mighty Boards has done some of their games that you've definitely heard of. They've done one that I just backed. I'm trying to think of what it was. Posthuman. They did Posthuman, which I just backed a few months ago. I can't remember when that campaign was. It's got 13 days to go, nearing 1,000 backers, nearing 50 grand. I think that they hit 100 grand easy, which is a good place to be as far as delivering. I do really want them to hit that 100 grand just to make sure that they can afford to hit a good economy of scale and start, paying for everything. But what I really like about there's a lot of things I really like about this. There's some big names. David Turksey was one of the main designers, along with Norelli Lubbers and Gordon Kaleha. And then one of my friends, actually, Board Game Girl Jess, some of you have seen her Ivy Games Weekly episode. She is doing the marketing for this, and I really think that she did a great job. If she was the one that helped with the design of the page, I think she did a wonderful job. And I'm going to talk about that a good bit. First off, Roll and Fight. Someone's got to comment on how good of a name that is, right? Like, has anyone seen, like, there's like Raw and Right, and there's all kinds of like plays on words for those. I really like this one. Yeah. Vengeance is a game series that they had done a game for before. This is not necessarily an expansion, it's a different game. But there is some carryover. I think you can use the minis from the first game if you back this game as well. I like the header image. It's very compelling. It's a little intense, but that's okay. I think it's really cool. Has a good description of what it is. Fight is an action movie in a box where you play as a vigilante intent on wiping out the gangs that plague your city. Like, that's a compelling, very short, succinct sentence. And I think that's really good. Why roll and write when you could roll and fight? 1 to 4 players, 30 minutes, nice short play time, 14 years, which you do for manufacturing reasons, and a solo mode. Of course, it's David Tursi. It's going to have a solo mode. I like their breakout cards. They have these wonderful, they're like cards from the game, but they're actually quotes. So those are really cool. I like that. Backed 69, created 10. That's good. I like that a lot. Thank you for supporting everyone, Mighty Boards. But yeah, they've got everything here for me. They've got the art, they've got the info about the game. David's a big name, and then they've got quotes. So this is a wonderful first content block, in my opinion. All right, everyone's gonna know why I like this page. The how to play, the gameplay is right at the top. It's right where I want it, and it's got this is how you do a how to play section. Jess, if this was you, wonderful job. It's got the text that's telling you what you're doing. It's got the GIF showing a little bit of the action. It's got a well-designed section. This is content block number 2, and it's great. I really like it. It's short. It doesn't, bore you with like every little minutia about the game, but it's got preparation, roll, and fight. I'm getting a little bit of Dice Throne vibes mixed with Railroad Ink. I don't know if anyone else is getting those vibes, but that's not bad vibes to get. Yeah. Yay, gifts. Thank you, Dane. I agree. All right. Continuing on. All right. So this is one of my only complaints about the page. There's a video here, and I think it is gameplay, but I don't have any text. I just don't know why I should click on this video, other than I see the box and I see a person. And there's like a designed element around it, so I just wish it had like text on there telling me what that video was. Maybe it's like a trick, like a reverse psychology thing. It's like, oh, now you have to click on this video because you don't know what it is and you're curious now, which worked on me, obviously, because I clicked on it to see what it was. But I wish it had like a playthrough or a how to play or a preview, like something there that told me what it was. But that's like one of my only complaints about this page. Got the rule book, which is great. It's got some good art. It's got what's in the box. There's 2 episodes, episode 1 and episode 2. If you back episode 2, then you can play up to 8 players, which is a very large player count for what this is. So I think that's wonderful. A lot of roll and writes have high player counts just because they're relatively simple in able to have simultaneous actions. So I don't know if that's how they're able to get it up to 8 player counts, but I think it's good that they split it up, because if you sold it as an 8 player count game, but it was double the price, then that would be a much harder sell than, hey, you can either get 1 and you can play with 4 players, or you can get 2 and you have double the content, double the story, but it also plays 8 players. I think this is a wonderful way to split it up. I think it's a compelling pricing model, if that makes sense. Did they break it in half because of the cost? Yeah, I don't know, Dane. I think it definitely helps the perception, in my opinion, of the cost, and lets you kind of choose. Like, you feel like you're getting double the content for the price. That I was fine with paying. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so it's $55 for both. So if it was $55 for one, that wouldn't feel as good to me as $55 for both. It's all just a shell game, but I think that's really, really good. Sam Cherry, I missed the Andrew Jackson reference, but that's hilarious. Yeah, but I'm not sure if they broke it in half because of the cost or not. But I think it was a good choice, and they still have these great little quotes coming through. I think those are good. I think the quotes are great. My only complaint is they might have needed also to have like the logo off to the side of the companies making these quotes. And I'm going to pick out one in particular. Not Board Gaming would have been one. Rotto Runs Through would have been one that I wanted to see their logo, just because it does draw your eye. But other than that, I really like how they did quotes. This is how it's talking about the compatibility with their first game, Vengeance. I think their first Kickstarter ever. But yeah, they have a really great Why Back Now section. They have stretch goals. I don't normally talk too much about stretch goals, but I don't think any of this is going to break them. It's just got some extra locations. It's got a cardboard dice tray. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Those were already planned, in my opinion. Like these stretch goal numbers are low enough to where these were already planned to be in the game. Get your pledge levels, promo packs, add-ons. I'm buzzing through this just because my voice is going slowly, so it's going to be a shorter stream today, guys. They did a really good job of getting a lot of coverage. They have a lot of really big names. They have a lot of small names. They just have a lot of different coverage. They have an interview with David and Norelli. Sorry, Norelli. I think I missed your name up there for a second. But then I like this section a lot. Why back now? By backing the game, you will get Kickstarter exclusive discounted items. Vengeance base game mega discount. They're doing 50% off their first game, Vengeance, which it's a really good tie-in for this campaign because you can use part of Vengeance, the minis, to play the game. So I think that was a great choice by them. Help bring this Kick-Arse game to life. We need your support to bring Vengeance Roll and Right to reality. Let's do this together. This is something that should be on every Kickstarter page. I think where it is hard. Obviously, in Mosaic, it was at the very bottom. Wasn't designed. This is beautiful. It's very well designed. It's not super high. A lot of people will put it with their pledge level sections. This was after that, but I'm fine with it. I think it's really good. Shipping section, it's good. It's got some nice design. I think it covers everything. It's a very detailed shipping section. It does have a VAT disclaimer down here. And it talks about that'll just be included in the pledge manager. And I think that's actually what we're legally required to do now. But they're using CrowdX. I think this will be one of the last campaigns you'll see using CrowdX. It's going away. They're merging with BackerKit. So you just won't see that logo too much. We're going to be using BackerKit, I believe, on our next campaign, just because they're joining forces. And then they've got the team, Mighty Boards. Yeah, I think it's a really good campaign overall. I think they'll hit over 100K. I hope they do. I think it deserves it. And I'm just excited about it because I like roll and rights. I really like the mechanic, but this mixes it with like a little bit of a combat game, which I also really like. And I hadn't played a roll and write that had combat in it. So, yeah. Dane, no pledge level with the minis. That's true. I don't know if it's an add-on when I backed. I'm trying to remember. It might have been like one of those add-ons within Kickstarter. I think they'll have those separated out. There was an add-on section. Yeah, so $15 for the Vengeance Hero minis, which you can use in the game. Yeah, that's good. I like it. I think you're saying that you wish there was a pledge level that included it. Yeah, I think it was for the original game. I agree. And that's why it's not included in the pledge level. Matt says, why back now is too low, I think. Yeah, I kind of wish it was right here. Maybe right after this Rado quote. This is a very impressive, very, very impressive little game. There's a lot going on in a very small type package. That sold it for me. It's a combat game. It's a roll and write, and it's small. I don't know how many of you want massive games, but I have lots of massive games. And having a small game that you can take over to a friend's house is nice. So I agree. I think this is a good one. Daniel, I haven't played the original. I don't know if it had a dice mechanic. I don't believe it did. I think it was, well, if it did have a dice mechanic, it was probably just for combat, whereas this definitely got a roll and write. It has different symbols on the dice. It's not like just numbers. So yeah. All right. So that is Vengeance. We backed at the $55 level. I didn't get the minis. One of the reasons I got drawn into this game is that it was small, and so adding minis kind of broke that for me. That doesn't mean other people won't really enjoy the minis, but I think for me it was better that way. This is an interesting, just from a manufacturing perspective, it's an interesting choice because they have these minis that they're selling again that were part of another game, but they're not having to redo sculpts, they're not having to redo molds. They have all that from their first game, and so it's a good, cost-effective strategy to add minis to this game, especially because it's not a sequel. It's kind of, it's in the same universe, right, as their other games. So I think this was a good choice. Which campaign has the circular board? I probably looked at it. I looked at a couple, and one of them had a circular board. I chose not to cover it today, mostly because I'm sick. Also because we're trying to get this under an hour, which I think I'm going to accomplish today. Yeah. All right. Chai T42. All right. Disclaimer, I don't think I backed Chai T. I might have, and it might have gotten to the office, and then the office got packed up. I have to go back and look. Why did I back the 2-player game? Well, one, they know how to do a Kickstarter page. Let me tell you, this thing is very, very good. 2, a 2-player game is more interesting to me because this is a game that I will definitely play with my wife. If I'm going to Zach's house and there's going to be one or two other couples there, I don't want to play a tea-themed game. Most likely, I'm going to want to play. I mean, if I'm going to go for that level of game, like we play Viticulture together, like I'm going to want to do something a little bit more detailed or something a little bit more in a theme that I'm really interested in, which is space, fantasy, history. Those are my big themes. So tea is not like, oh, I want to play a game with that all the time. The people that made this game are very different. They are tea experts. They love tea a lot. And I definitely could see me and my wife playing this, though. It's got nice art. It's got a really good dynamic gameplay that I'm going to talk about. And it just has a really, really nice page. So this, for me, I was looking at it and I was like, yes, this is something me and Alana will play together, which is my wife. Who is my wife? Whom is? I don't know. I'm not going to try to do that while I'm sick. All right. Before I jump into that, Age of Adam said, how do you decide to make something an add-on versus just being part of a pledge level? This is a great question. It is a hard decision. We actually just made a decision on Mythic Mischief. Something that was going to be in a pledge level is now going to be an add-on. There are a lot of reasons that could happen. Sometimes it's cost. Sometimes it's that you have a base component that you want to keep in the game because it makes the game more affordable, but then you have an upgraded component that you want to make available to people that want their game to be a more quality, more, I was going to say elite experience, but that's not it. More luxurious experience, I guess. I don't know. So that's number one is cost, making your game more cost effective. You have some kind of upgrade in the game, like if it's a cardboard bird versus a play mat. That's an upgrade that you don't want to include because it's expensive, but that people want to add. Okay. Sometimes it's box space. Your base game box, you want to keep to a certain design. You have everything, the trays, all designed and stuff. And you don't want to include something in there that will mess that up. Once again, another reason why game mats are usually add-ons is they are very hard to store inside a box. I'm going to try to come up with a different example than game mats, but that's the one that's coming to mind for some reason. I'm going to keep this question on stream while I'm talking about it. And then sometimes it's ridiculous. Like the wood boards for Veiled Fate were ridiculous. Like there was no reason you needed it. It was just completely luxurious. And yes, it's an upgrade. It kind of goes with my first example, but like Chai Tea has a pledge level that is like a wooden box full of stuff. And that's a pledge level that you wouldn't make an add-on because it's changing a ton of stuff. I'm going to take a step back. Pledge levels are generally something that is like a conversion. The Moonrakers didn't really have a pledge level that had everything in it. It could have, but then all that stuff would have been expected to come in a box together. Usually, if you're going to do a pledge level, it's all expected to come in a box. I'm not going to make an insert in Moonrakers that has space for 80 coins instead of 40 coins, right? Like it's not really necessary, but people wanted it. We made it in a way that apparently can fit the mats under the insert. We didn't intend to do that. That was just a happy accident. And then looking at Veiled Fate, like the Make It Metal pledge was a conversion. It took out the plastic minis and added in metal minis. You could still add plastic minis to the pledge if you wanted, but it wouldn't be in the base box. I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of other reasons you'd make things add-ons besides cost and box space. And apparently there's not a ton because I'm not thinking of them right now, but I'm sick, so you'll have to excuse it. The box title / logo isn't the best for me on Chai Tea for Two. From a design standpoint, I don't hate it. I think they're a little locked in because they wanted to keep the branding from their first games. So the only thing I think you could critique here is just because they have to kind of keep that continuity would be the T for Two section. I don't mind it. It is a little bit hand lettery, so it's just a design choice, but I see what you're saying, Dane. The art looks wonderful. I think the logo should have been pushed. Yeah, the art is wonderful. I agree. Matt Feller, the art is very specific, or the topic is very specific. Yeah, that is a thing, Matt. And yes, you'll possibly lose people that just are coffee drinkers and don't like drinking tea and they're just not interested, right? But you also gain people, and that was really interesting. They have an award that I was going to talk about in the future, but I'm just going to talk about right now because we're having a discussion. They have an award which I thought was at the top of the page. Wow, I'm completely missing where this was. But it was like some kind of tea society. There we go. World Tea Tycoon winner 2021. What the heck is that? Like they have like a whole different market to sell their game to than anything I've ever made because I've never been in tea, right? So going really tight in on a theme will either be good or bad, and you just kind of have to do your research. Like they obviously have sold into some kind of tea community that likes tea and therefore is going to be more interested in their game. It's the same thing with IP. If you make a Red Rising game like Jamie Stegmaier did, then some people are just not going to be interested in the game because they haven't read the books, right? So that's a risk. It's just like, I haven't read the books. Why would I want to play a game in that universe? But then you have opened up this world of a ton of different people that have read the books and are more interested in it. I would have bought that game anyway, probably. I really like Stonemeyer's games. But I bought it because it was Red Rising. I love those books. So when you hone in on a theme, sometimes you risk alienating people, but sometimes you open up a whole different world of backers that you never would have had before. All right. Liz wants to drink a chai latte right now. I don't like chai, so maybe that was why I didn't back the first time. Who knows? Readability on the logo is yeah, I'm with you there. It is, but I still like it. I like the hand lettering thing, but I understand why not everyone would like it. All right. Hey, now us coffee people are getting coffee traders. Exactly. Like getting honed in is not a bad idea, depending on what your theme is. Like there are bad themes to hone in on, obviously. So, all right. All right. Beyond wanting to play it with my wife, I just really love this page. This page is good. This is a lesson for me in how a Kickstarter page should be run. Not to say they did everything perfectly. They've only converted 23 people to their highest pledge level. That's really low, especially in a limited 200. Like normally that would sell out really fast because it's a limited model, but it's a big $200 is a big price tag for a smaller, lighter game. Lighter might be a bad word, but it's not Mosaic, right? Like comparatively, the amount of things you're getting just from like, I don't like making this comparison because people make this comparison about Veiled Fate and Moonrakers all the time. I'm like, the quality's there, but just looking at this compared to Mosaic and the amount of stuff you get, this is $50 more than that. And so you have to know that you really like chai tea, the game, the earlier games, to know that you're going to want to spend $200 on this. All right. I love this campaign. They have a $5 print and play pledge level. It has 106 backers, and then a $40 pledge level that is 2,300 backers. $161 price increase for that luxury edition is probably also why they're not converting people to it, and that's fine. I mean, they've converted some people to it. It's not the end of the world. All right, let's start talking about the page. 3 created 256 back. Dan and Connie, y'all are board gamers and have supported the community. Their only 3 games are the 3 Chai Tea games. It's like Chai Tea reprint and expansion, and then Chai Tea for 2. Like they just love board games is what I'm reading from this page. Like that's incredible. So thanks to them for supporting the community. All right. I really like the header. It has a little bit of art. It's got the word mark that Dane doesn't like, but I do. And then it has a what's in the box section. And right away, I'm curious because there's some components. They've got some fun shapes, right? Boards are usually just rectangle. I mean, they're getting better now, but like there are some fun shapes. Yes, they have 2 rectangular boards, but there's just a lot of unique shapes. And they have like this, like almost like horizon line above the top of the board. And that was really compelling to me. And I'm like, what the heck are these 6 things? Those look very interesting. And then it has an overview of the game. As countries look for their next cup of tea, set sail your most delicious brews in Chai Tea for 2, facing off as opposing tea merchants. Both players strive to have the most victory points by securing tea clipper contracts and improving their tea plantation, producing green, white oolong, yellow, black, and dark pures. I don't know how to say that. It's a race. Yeah, this is a wonderful overview. And then they get into this art section that has these wonderful wooden backgrounds with these like colors. I really, really like this photography. It's real product photography. It's a big difference from what you'll see in a lot of pages that are all 3D mockups. They have this product. It's ready to go. They can it looks like they can go into production today, right? So that's a big plus when you have real world photography. It's like that exists and they're ready to make it, in my opinion. How to play. This is a great place for this. Like, it's got the video, right, of the how to play. It's not labeled perfectly, but it's in the how to play section. So I know that's a how to play video. It's by Tantrum. It has the logo and then someone I know from Tantrum. So like that's a great video placement for me. And then it has these wonderful GIFs with arrows and with text backing everything up. This is how you do a how to play section. This is a lesson in how to do a how to play section, in my opinion. It's great. Unique player power, spice up replayability. So it's not just telling you how to play. It also has a call out of a competitive advantage, which is awesome. They sneak these in all across the page, right? And then different strategies emerge and how you spend your points. And then your dice worker placement, which I think is cool. So I'm excited to learn more about that. And then a shut up, sit down quote. I've not seen anything like this before in a board game. I think it's really cute. I am charmed by absolutely everything about this. This game made a very favorable first impression by me. Quinn's, shut up, sit down. That is a huge quote. I think it could be bigger, but I think it's big enough. I think it's really good. Bigger on the page. It's already a very big quote. It's a huge quote. But I think it could be bigger on the page. But I think it's good. It's got the shut up, sit down logo there, which is good enough to grab you in. Puzzly engine building. I love that text. I do. I think it's a very compelling for people like me that like engine building. They like mind game puzzles. I think it's a good approach to targeting their target market. I really like that. It's got the rule book. It's got Tabletopia, so you know that they care about the game. That was wrong. You know that they're confident the game is already ready to go to market because it's playable right now by anyone. You don't have to be a backer to play this right now. Once again, and this happened on the last campaign, there's now a video right here, and I have no idea what this is. It doesn't have anything on it, and I see 45 minutes right there, but that's it. And I was like, what is this? So I clicked on it, and it's like a fan-made tribute to this game, and I thought it was going to be like a play on Tabletopia tutorial. So it's a little bit mislabeled in my opinion, but a little odd. Yeah, Dane said shut up, sit down video from them equals instant back purchase for some. Jim, yes. I don't know that you could even get a video from them before the product was printed and like done. But somehow they did it. There is a shut up and sit down video on this, so I'm definitely looking into that because I would love that for Mythic Mischief. Anton's drinking a chai latte right now as I watch this. Perfect. Aaron says, it's a long quote. I want to bold to call out the best parts. Yeah, nitpicky, Aaron, I agree, but I am right there with you. I nitpick things, and I have to because I want to nitpick it so I make my own page better. I can't say enough good things about this page. I'm nitpicking the whole time I'm saying negative things because I really, really love this page. And I'm really excited about the game. The page is a great conversion tool. It looks amazing. It's artwork, but it is a conversion tool because it is making me excited about the game. And that is what a Kickstarter page needs to do. And so it's not just that it looks good. It's not just that it shows the game. It's got to get me excited. And I think that they did an excellent job of that. Ingredients. It's fun. It's obviously what's in the box. They've thematically approached their page in a good way. These are included in the game. 6 tea tins with delightful 3D embossing featuring the different teas. I'm not going to do that again. I love those. I mean, just having thematic components in a game is fun. I think of Wingspan when I think of this. The dice tower that has the birdhouse, like that is really great thinking, and I think that they've nailed that here as well as like a storage solution that's thematic as a T10. So I really like that. Daniel's saying totally not a game I'd typically be into, but the page is really selling me on it. Precisely. This is, I think if they get enough people to this page, they will be blown away because their conversion is going to be high, just in my opinion, because of how well they've done on this page. It was an All Shucks preview. I don't think they make reviews of games that aren't released yet, with some exceptions. But for All Shucks, they did things a little differently. That's what it is. That is what it is. I'll have to look at All Shucks next. I think they have a fall All Shucks. I'm not sure. Delightful is such a good word. Yes, it is. All right. I think the only component that I wasn't like, I'm so excited about that are these boards, and that's fine. Like, there's going to be components in every game that's not like you're going to be blown away by all of them. They have a little bit of info on like what kind of cards there are. Got some solo mode stuff. They have a comic in their rule book that looks really cute. I saw that. Pledge levels, they've got those broken out. I think one of the reasons the Tea Master edition is not selling that well, which is their $200 large edition, is there's not that much that I can find about it on the page. In the excuse me. In the description over here, I see that it's laser cut handcrafted wooden box, personalized engraved metal plate, 6 tea tins of metal coin, 60 wood tea tokens, all of the rest of the stuff. Like, there's a lot there, but I'm not seeing that anywhere on the page. Yeah, which it just wasn't a focus. I think they just, it's kind of like the wood board for me in Veiled Fate. Like, they wanted to do it, and so they did it. Yeah, it's not like making or breaking the campaign. They're going to make or break the campaign on that section right above it. Okay, add-ons. Alex from Board Game Co. Loved these. He loved them, and that made me excited about them. And I think the designs are really cool. I really want this blue ship one with the like sea foam. It's great. I really, really like this. It's like a whole different campaign within this game. Like, you don't need those in any way to play, and they could work across a bunch of different games. Like, they're not like all about tea. Like, there's camels on this one. Yes, there's tea leaves. And then there's meeples on this one. And yes, there's, I think, tea leaves. Like, it's something that could be just a general use item in your house. It's not unique to this game. So I like that a lot. I think they're really, really cool. I'm definitely getting this one. And then they have a nice little section here that says it's not going to impact your shipping. Yeah. I think they're great trays. I think it's really cool. And they have a couple of different ways that you can back to get a bunch of them. There's Alex talking about the best. These are by far the best dice trays I've ever touched. They are premium, and I want more copies. Alex, thank you for covering this. I don't know if it seems like a weird thing to cover, but I'm so glad you did, because I was like, oh man, I need those. All right. Pledge Manager add-ons. There's that Tea Tycoon thing that I talked about earlier. Yeah, I'm losing my voice even worse, so I'm going to wind down. But overall, really, really great campaign. Oh, I want to talk about this. The weekly events section. I want to do this on our next campaign. It has like Twitch streams and live playthroughs and interviews that they have coming up, and they've coincided their campaign with International Tea Day, which is really fun. So I'm pumped for them. There's a lot of forward thought here. There is a stretch goals section. It's called Crate Unlocks. I think it's a little odd to be this low on the page. Like, most people that care about stretch goals, it's like the thing they check all the time, and so they want it higher on the page. I personally don't mind it being this low on the page, but once again, you know how I feel about stretch goals, so I wasn't like thrilled. Cutty Shark, the last tea clippers, like, they are leaning into their theme and their audience. Like, I have no idea what a tea clipper is, but I'm guessing it's a moves tea around, like, and so there's apparently one of those left. So yeah, it's very interesting. They have possibly the most beautiful shipping section I've ever seen. It's not the easiest to read, but it is color coded, which is interesting. So maybe it's really easy to read, but I'm blown away by how beautiful it is. Most shipping sections are terrible, and it does have an import VAT tax thing here, specifically calling out EU and Brexit. They'll be added in the Pledge Manager after the campaign. Group pledge videos. There's the shut up and sit down coverage. But yeah, overall, they have a ton of external verification, and I think pretty widely. I love how they did the quote pools from it. Right, I'm gonna take a picture of that and put it on my page of notes to do an our Kickstarter campaign, because like, if you have it's great to have a video, right? Like, but honestly, most people aren't going to watch all the videos. Some people do, but most people are going to watch them all. So pulling out the quotes in these videos is really just excellent. I really like how they did that, and we're going to steal that for our next campaign, I think. There is a ton of playthrough content and review content and preview content. It is so much. They have just an international preview section. This is wild. Really, really great production timeline. You've heard me talk about that in other episodes. This one's lovely. It talks about all the things and not just fulfillment, which I like. They have a localization, credits, and everything you'd expect in Risks and Challenges. So all in all, wonderful campaign. They should be really, really proud of it. Dan and Connie, it looks wonderful. They still have a bunch of time left, 17 days to go. They're already at 3,000 backers. This is easily over 250,000. I think it's going to do even higher. And I'm pumped for them. Really, really cool game. Excited to be backing it. Cool. That's all I'm going to cover today. My voice is going to be gone. I'm going to go drink some tea. not chai tea though, because I don't like chai. But I would really appreciate, I know what I talked about it before, but like in the comment section, for the giveaway for the Moonrakers mats, where we would love to hear about ways we can improve the show, things that we're missing, things we're talking about, whether I'm too negative or too positive, like just our approach. And we're kind of shifting to focus on ones that I'm actually excited about, and try to take a more positive spin on it. And I like that, especially because these are people that we're peers with, like we're making games too. And so, we definitely want to be respectful of that. But yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback. And I love doing this. I can't believe every time I look at the clock that I've been talking for an hour, just because it's something that I would be looking through these pages on my own, and it's really fun to look through them with you. So thank you for joining me as I look through them. Oh, Steep Games is here. Is that them? It's Dan and Connie. It is Steep Games. Hi guys. I missed you in chat. I love your campaign page. It is so good. You already knew that though. It's incredible. I don't know if you're still watching, but I hope you are, because it is wonderful. Truly wonderful page. You deserve everything, all the backers you're getting for sure. All right, time to wrap it up. Once again, just comment something you like about the show, or a way you can improve it, or way we can improve it. We're going to try breaking out the sections of the show and re-uploading them. As far as like discoverability goes, it's really hard for people to find the live stream on YouTube. So we're going to try to re-upload just a section of the video to try to get some more interest in it as well. But any ideas you have for us, we'd love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. And I managed to keep it right about an hour. We're an hour and 2 minutes, so it wasn't perfect, but I think I did a much better job this week as I did the first 3 weeks. So yeah. Thanks for the kind words, Austin. Love your campaigns as well, and hope a herbal tea society helps. I'm literally going downstairs to do that right now. Thank you, Steep Games. Yeah, can't wait to play this with my wife. It's gonna be a blast. And man, what a great campaign page. Yeah. To help you search out the comment, would you like to use a hashtag with the keyword? We're probably just going to include all the comments in the search this time. It's not a perfect system, but we'll include all of them this time. But in the future, that's a great idea. Thank you, Kevin. Having it skipped a single stream, just write comments for the first time. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being here, and I'm glad you jumped into the comment section. Mun, thank you so much for the kind words. I will go get some tea, and I'll be feeling great. But yeah, compliment Steep Games on their campaign on your way out, and thank you guys so much for being here. Hopefully, I'll see you next week. Oh, tomorrow I think we're playing Bus. I'm really excited about that. I've had it in my collection for a long time, but the pandemic hit, and it's like a 3-player minimum game, so I couldn't play it. And so I'm really excited to play that tomorrow. And then IB Games Weekly this Friday. I don't have a guest yet. We might be doing something in the Road to Kickstarter theme that me and Max did a series on a few weeks ago. So yeah, that's this week. Talk to you guys then.